like find something to piss off your neighbor. It could be that. It could be urinating and making eye contact with. It could be defecating, and just on the property line, just to draw the line out. I mean, you want to be friends with your neighbors, and you want to have a sense of their sensibilities before those things come into issue.
Right. But if you want to act a certain way that's contrary to what your neighbor's expectations are as enshrined by law, you have to put up the wall.
Yep.
You have to deal with the ramifications.
Oops. I'm just saying.
If you want to piss off your neighbor,
the cannabis community is going to be in the same spot. You're going to have to be the one to, whatever the word is for negate the nuisance. Like that's, why do you think we've won that ethical or that presumption? Like it's going to be our responsibility.
Because it's not a nuisance.
Unless you believe that Oregon judge who believes it's a pleasant smell.
Yeah.
That's how the jurisprudence has to be.
I'm sure that's how the Michigan
offensive. Here's the deal: the smell of marijuana is not offensive
Canopy?
Simply because it's illegal.
It's hemp. Because THC does not smell. It's odorless.
But
Jeff, you're going there.
I mean,
sorry,
I'm going to play the devil's.
Hemp.
I'm going to play the devil's
hemp
advocate. I have a friend that I've known for a very long time that cannot be around any kind of smoke. Yep. Period.
Is she a judge up in?
No, it's a he. It's a he, and he is not against cannabis in the least. He supports legalization. He just can't be around smoke. Period.
Right, but it's objectively offensive is the standard. I mean, one person isn't a rule.
No, I wouldn't say it's offensive.
But that's based on community standards.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
First of all, there are some counties in the state of Michigan.
Obscenity is, but I don't know that nuisance law follows that.
I would say this. There's some counties in the state of Michigan whose all deeds, the local register of deeds requires on the property description, the acknowledgement of the right to farm act for all properties within the community. Lapeer is one of them. Yeah, Lapeer is one of them. So the idea that marijuana smell would be, which is a plant, that is, falls under all the plant and activity that one would be able to do under the right to farm act, but is also under MRTMA, I would say would be impossible to suggest that any nuisance could arise out of it, because they've already accepted. Because the purpose of that announcement within the deeds is that these farming communities will not accept nuisances as farming smells, which is what it is.
Or which refers to animals, I guess, is what that is.
Well, it could be anything. It could be manure.
And that smell is offensive.
It's farm-related.
Our county went through that back in the 90s.
Farm-related smells are not nuisances.
Right.
But it's offensive.
Well, I mean, is the smell of marijuana offensive? I mean, most of the times what you see is that it's like, why so many people? Well, it must be bad because it's illegal, right? Rather than it must be illegal because it's bad. They get it asked backwards. It's offensive because it's illegal. That's not a thing. It can only be offensive if it's objectively offensive.
Yeah.
If the odor itself is objectively, it smells like pig shit.
Right. That is objectively offensive.
That's what I always thought.
Well, maybe we shouldn't say that.
Maybe we should stop calling it skunk.
Because there's skunks under my porch all the time, and I think they're smoking marijuana.
So the thing is, if you could get rid of that skunk, you would.
I really would not like to approach having to get rid of a skunk.
But what if it was your neighbor that was causing the skunk?
Just leave the skunk alone.
The neighbor was in fact the skunk. That's interesting.
And that's what I think some of the cannabis community is going to end up with bad neighbors. And there will be cases.
There will be cases of olfactory disruption.
Nuisance. Yeah, parties.
I'm saying to you,
in the suburbs is going to be the
I am
nuisance.
saying to you that whether you like MRTMA and want to make this thing about what marijuana smells like, you can do it. I'm saying to you that the fact that the federal government has declared the cannabis sativa L plant to be hemp as the default, and Michigan adopted the same definition, and that the only thing we're talking about is whether it's 0.3% or greater of THC means that we are smelling hemp. And there's going to be no distinction for it. And you can blame Mitch McConnell and all of his Republican buddies for the nuisance by which these little communities that want to not smell marijuana are going to be smelling
hemp,
cannabis sativa L plants, and they can get on the horn to Mitch McConnell, who's made whose
That-
net worth has increased $25 million since he's been in office. Do you know that? There's some statistics
I
about it.
believe it.
What was the
I don't know, like net worth $25 million since he's been in office. I don't know, some shit like that.
Really?
It's amazing how that works.
That could be slanderous. I don't know.
Yep.
It's probably true. I think I saw it in. You know what? I saw it on the internet, so it's got to be true.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a excellent
You know, there was a
defense to
place before,
slander.
I can't remember the city,
You need a microphone.
and this guy would come out and pee every day in front of his neighbors, okay? And he did it every day.
Guy used to come out and pee in front of his neighbor every day
Or he'd
in
walk out to
Florida.
the sidewalk.
This Dewey interpreted it. Go ahead.
And she called the police,
Yep.
and the police came, and they said, we don't have an ordinance against that. And he's peeing on his own property, like you said.
Sounds like prowling.
And they
Just
couldn't do
kidding.
anything.
Just kidding.
They couldn't
Well,
do
wouldn't there
anything
be
about it.
like
Then they had to pass an ordinance.
for peeing or
That's-
exposing
for
yourself?
That's what.
Yeah,
That's what he
There's
said he
a
was
law
doing.
For exposing, but if there was a,
You gotta build.
if he had something, built a little tent or something, I guess it would be okay.
How about nudity on your property? Walking around nude.
Look,
Well, I go out and get my newspaper. I'm just wearing a robe. Anything could happen.
What's that?
No.
Right. How about what was the answer to that?
look, you know my answer to it, but I'm not going to admit it.
I don't know what your answer is. You better admit it.
Emperor has no clothes, man.
Prowler
That's awesome.
for tomorrow.
That's perfect.
Isn't it?
Aren't we due for a break?
No.
Let's talk about my case tomorrow. What I'm working on. I give her my whole hand to the prosecutor who's not listening to her. Okay? It doesn't matter. It's already been done.
We've got some visual aids for our radio show.
It's been I got some visualize for the radio show. We'll go through this. Okay, everybody
Well,
look
that's
up
why I'm
here.
here. I like watching radio a lot.
Right.
Hear that, Schuyler?
Huh.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's going to be a
Thunder?
rainy drive back.
You got windshield wipers, right?
Yeah.
Is it the one that goes like that, or?
Bitcoin's down, he said.
So here's another thing. This is
Illegal go
Shiloh.
along.
Let me hear how you feel about this, because this is probably a Republican written law. And I have to say this because
They're all written by Republicans.
because it's only it's I don't know it's a method of legislating control in the greatest sense.
Yeah.
We're talking about loitering statutes and prowling statutes and trespassing statutes in areas that are generally open to the public, and that the enforcement of these things are done in such a way that there is complete and utter discretion offered to the officer in terms of how they choose to interpret the behavior. Case in point. The story that's told is that from his 600 address street name vantage point at 3 o'clock in the morning in the city of small town Michigan, officer was set up for radar. 3 o'clock in the morning. The town is 2,000 people, okay?
They're all asleep.
And there's like a no drinking this week rule or something like that. You know what I mean? So this guy knows he's about there. And from where his vantage point is this, he sees in a parking lot a guy in a and I couldn't get it. I was looking for the word. I was like, line. And Dewey said, "What'd you say?" And he,
Reflective.
reflective. And she's like, "Who said that? Who's that behind you?" The judge's all mad at him. You know, I was like, "This is like I knew like with the." And we brought the jacket. So you saw a guy in a reflective jacket, right? It looked like this. Bam, pull it out. It's like,
When it's dark out?
yes, a bright yellow jacket that
should
you
make some
wear
sense.
That
to
you wear-
avoid
Right.
Getting hit, right.
Yeah.
getting hit.
okay,
And it's got
seems like
it's
a normal
got,
thing.
It's got these things on
Yeah,
it, like
stripes on it.
stripes on it,
Yeah.
reflective stripes that are bright orangey, like the
Right.
most orange, yellow orange, like reflective.
A-OK in Smallsville.
They're mandated
And
in
he's
Europe.
he's got a flashlight, and he's in the middle of a parking lot, to which this officer drives from the 600 block to the 400 block, which seems like it's a little great distance. He's able to see him and identify him, clearly visible, and he's able to drive his vehicle up and to the person, which means it's clearly an area that's open to the public, right?
Okay.
And we had a debate about whether it's private property or not. And I'm like, when you say private property, what
It's
you
open
really
public.
mean is that it's owned by a private citizen
Yeah.
instead of the government. That's all that it is.
And that's not the legal question.
That's what I wanted. That's what he clarified for me.
Yeah, I got
that
it.
he wasn't saying it was that private citizens weren't allowed to go on. And he even acknowledged that he understands that there's some areas that citizens can go on, and when he pulls on as a police
There was
officer,
no reasonable
he has
suspicion.
he has
of
no
a crime.
jurisdiction. Whatever. I'm just talking about the police's authority to be and preclude somebody from an area or even proclaim the area to be off limits, because that's what we're talking about. Okay, now there may be certain areas in this kind of commercial setting of businesses that might be, right? Like the dumpster, for example, right? Would someone be allowed to be digging through the dumpster?
No.
Why?
Well, that's unlawful.
Why?
You can't go into somebody else's garbage.
Says who?
You can't.
They may have an ordinance about it, right?
That is not true.
The government do it all the
Private
time. You have no right to
property.
privacy in the garbage.
I
You know that?
understand that, but they usually secure
it's-
warrants for that.
No, they
Cops
don't.
said that unless
Never.
it's-
Not to
unless
pull
it's
garbage off the street
A hungry
corner.
person can't dig in the
It's
garbage.
abandoned.
Yeah,
But I think there's probably
there's rules about this private. It's a private entity, and it may be on. I don't know. They're
You're-
contracting with the takers away of it or something. Like there may be some kind of, whatever food rules that they can't. Some kind of
Yeah,
dispose.
there's probably rules against dumpster.
But anyways, but that would. It's also in an. It's also in an alley.
MCL trash
It's also in
thing.
an alley. It's also in an alley, and the places that they keep the garbage is not an area that's generally open to the public to walk
Correct, I
into.
agree
That'd be
with that.
reasons why you could probably preclude someone. Maybe.
Like the one out here, you can't get to. You'd have to
Right. They're
get
telling you
in
they don't want you to get into it. You can, by the way, you
Right.
just lift the latch and.
Find some good shit.
But anyway, so
but your guy got subject to, it sounds like a Terry stop.
no, so he's in the middle of a parking lot, and
And then
he
immediately
pulls
just-
over and up to him. So they have a conversation like, oh, he knows it's him immediately, and he says something to him like, I thought I told you weren't allowed to be out here. He goes, I'm not in the dumpster. I'm looking for cans. I need them to eat. Okay? This is what he says. And then he arrests him. So
What did he say?
this is the thing. Exactly. Good
Should-
point.
No, did he say?
Well, there's a ticket. First of all, they arrested him for some local ordinance
Yeah. What was it?
and
Just-
some shit, and then he pled to some other crap, and then they charged him with some felony stuff. I see 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
3
kind of a
minutes.
felony.
Because they found some alleged narcotics on him, okay? Which is after the arrest. But it's like a double jeopardy thing, too. We didn't even. Anyways, so the whole thing is I have this guy, and I say, so what so you must have wanted to arrest him before you got up to him, because you drove right up to him, and he didn't say anything that would be an admission of some conduct that was illegal. So there was nothing that he said that changed that you've suggested that would be consistent with your answer that you weren't going to arrest him when you saw him and you drove up to him. So I said, what would have happened if when you got over there and there was a woman who was walking her dog at 3 o'clock in the morning, like you said? He goes, well, we have some discretion in this regard. And I said, so what did you arrest him for? He goes, for being on private property. I go, really? I thought the statute is for prowling. He goes, well, yeah, it's same thing, prowling. Meanwhile, prowling, it doesn't give a definition of what prowling means, but it's like this, whatever the fuck you want it to be. But it requires
Casey.
like stealth and
aggressive.
stealth, hiding, looking for prey. Okay,
Yeah.
not on private property, but like not with a bright orange jacket with a
No,
flashlight, visible and identifiable the person.
You gotta have,
Right.
you gotta have
Exactly.
an economic mens rea.
No, you have to have an economics to be covert as part of
You
this.
gotta be
Specific
acting.
intent.
You gotta be acting with intent
Yeah.
To be
somewhere.
hiding, his jacket itself, which I brought into like this is the jacket as it looks like it. All right. I'm playing the songs, Jim. I'm not letting you.
That's fine.
All right, thanks for
Why don't you wrap
sticking
it
with
up
us.
on time.
We're going to come back and talk about hemp. Joel's got all kinds of stuff he's going to talk about tonight only, and not at the event. So if you miss it tonight, you
Then
listen
you're
to
fucked.
it. No, you can listen to it on the replay. We'll be right back.